Hello, this is Shiva. We're going to continue. This is episode 4 of the 8-ball build. I've got a couple of quick housekeeping things first. If you remember, I mentioned that I had a problem with my FPS, my frames per second. The developer has gotten back to me. Apparently, there is a solution to it. And he also mentioned that he is going to start working on optimizing what is already available here, so we could have a pretty nice FPS jump. And I should mention that pinball especially, you kind of need 60 frames per second. The board just doesn't move properly if it's anything less than that, and it does affect the physics. So great news. The other thing is, and the reason why I'm doing this episode a little bit early, I'm doing it tonight instead of tomorrow. I have decided to replace both episodes 1 and episodes 2 of this series. I've deleted them and re-recorded them from scratch. And the main reason, of course, was the problems I had with the microphone and headphone that I was using. They were, well, crap. And I have replaced it with a lot better microphone. And people who have heard it say that I'm coming through a lot clearer now, so that is great. The other thing, of course, is that with the changes to the videos, I sort of changed what I was talking about. Both episode 1 and episode 2 are more about 8-ball and less about some of the features within PinBuilder. I've decided I'll probably do separate videos for that. But most importantly, I just loaded up episode 1. If you haven't seen it yet, I would actually suggest that you go and have a look at it. I'm introducing the game to you there, even though this is the exact same table that I showed. I'm also going over some changes, small minor changes that I have made, and why I did them. And to be honest, if you want to design a table, whether in PinBuilder or in one of the other pinball editors, you might want to have a look at it, because there are some very interesting ideas, and there's a couple of really good tricks that can really improve the quality of your table. For example, let's have a quick look at this. Come on, Paul, get your fingers to work properly. Jeez. Okay, this is one of the changes right here. Well, actually, there's two. This is now a wire guide, and if you notice, it's sort of connected to the way it's connected to the flipper. That's so that the ball goes nice and smooth all the way down, as opposed to going here, hitting the base of the flipper and jumping over. Pinball's about skill. Okay, that's not skill. All right. The other thing is I added a couple pegs, and I know that some people are going to be upset. They're very traditionalists like me, but let's be honest, 8-ball is one of the most boring tables ever produced. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was Bally's very first solid state game, it was released in 1977, if it wasn't for that fact, nobody would be paying the slightest bit of attention to it right now. Okay, so you know, the way I look at it, it's pretty much open season, especially on a game like this. And honestly, I didn't want people to download the game, play it once, and then just store it on their hard drive, never to be played again. All right, so this is something that I will tell anybody that wants to make tables. That's not a thumbs up in the voting in the YouTube. That's an honest opinion. I really take pride in my stuff, so to be honest, I didn't want to release a table which was basically 8-ball. It was just not my style. So I did make one small thing, and I don't remember if I mentioned this or not in the very first video. I changed the location of this peg very, very slightly, and as you can see, it's actually a little bit more that way. And there's a reason for that, because I didn't want the ball, if the ball was coming over here and it rides down the flipper and then comes up here, I didn't want the ball to go boop. In other words, nope. I wanted it to go up and straight up and then start bouncing around in here. I just think that it's a lot better visual shot. I think it adds a little bit more tension to the player. It keeps his, it really requires him to focus, and it just plays a lot better. And just adding two little pegs here, one over here and one over here, really completely and totally changes this entire area. It's completely different now just by adding two pegs. So this is something that I wanted to highlight first, because I'm going to highlight something else, and it's this guy right here. Now, when you're actually playing, I'm going to grab that ball. There we go. Okay, so when you're actually playing the game, from the right flipper you shoot the ball goes up, and then it will just go all the way around this loop, right? Well, that's great. And as you can see, I talked a lot about how I reshaped this ramp this way, and why I shaped it exactly the way I did it in episode 1. And I can actually confirm, playing this a couple of times, that this is really, really smooth shot now. There is no, it's a gorgeous looking shot now. It's just so buttery smooth. The thing about shooting it from up here, and if you're doing your own design, everybody thinks about the ball coming from the flippers and shooting up, right? No, a lot of people, the vast majority of people who design pinball tables, they don't think about the other way, which is if the ball comes down here, hits this bumper, and comes down like this way, what actually happens. And it's here that you actually can have about a couple of choices. One is you can have the ball coming in the rail. You could get to the end, and this bumper being a little bit over, what will happen? The ball will hit the bumper like that. If that's the shot you want, leave the bumper like that. If you don't want that kind of shot, move it so that the wire is just beyond the edge of the bumper, like I've got it right now. So what will happen then is the ball will ride down, and it will go straight down. Okay, now here's the thing that you then get two decisions. With the Bally 8-ball, 9 times out of 10, it's going to hit the slingshot. It's either, if it's a slow speed ball, it's going to hit here and it's going to go in here. And if it's a faster ball, it's probably going to hit and trigger the sling, right? It's going to trigger the solenoid. If that's what you want, then that's good. The more modern style, though, especially started with games like High Speed, is when the ball comes down here, the actual wall is shaped so that it is pointing more towards the flipper. So this shot is, the ball comes down, it misses the slingshot, and it hits the flipper instead. And this is at the present moment, I have it pretty traditional. The shot that Bally used, the ball hits the sling, but I may actually be changing the angle so that the ball will in fact hit the flipper on a medium shot. And in fact, I want the ball to, as much as possible, even with different speed changes, hit the flipper right there. And again, as I mentioned before, by doing the drain lane up here increases the tension. Guess what? It does the same for the flipper too. It's a lot more exciting shot for the player to have, and it sort of does open up other shot possibilities down the road. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm now going to talk. I've already discussed the right in lane. I've discussed the changes that I've made that I showed in episode 1. So now we're going to just have a little talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to this particular game. And that would be the bonus count system, which is kind of goofy and very, very tough to do, if not impossible in PinBuilder, even with multiple updates down the road. And yeah, it's a very confusing bonus count system. And to be honest, I can't remember Bally ever using this variation ever again. In fact, this is the only game I think that really used this, so I think it is pretty easy to say just throw the entire bonus count system out of this game and make it a more traditional type of bonus counting system. And that means that just add a bonus, just reuse these lights here at the bottom, just reuse the ball lights and just make them a bonus count. This 15, or we can still maybe use these for bonus multipliers. We can use the super bonus if we want as a second storage down the road, like once the 15th bonus is lit. When the 16th bonus is lit, then this is lit, super bonus, and then a 1. We can do that. And to switch locations that we need, we don't want to add too many because there is in fact only 15 bonus, but we can do 1, 2, 3, and maybe these guys here. Or we could have a special feature with one of the target banks that scores an extra bonus. We just don't want a lot of switches that add a bonus to the bonus count. I would say 6 at the most. But I would actually kind of just prefer 4, to be honest. It makes the bonus makeable, but quite difficult. For it to get to the 15 level per ball, and you kind of want that. I think if you make it too easy, it's going to be too easy, and players might get a little bored with that. So make it a little bit more challenging. In the meanwhile, and well, talking about bonus count, what are we going to do about the bonus multiplier? Well, this normally scores the bonus multiplier by making a shot over here. It does the bonus multiplier, it gives you the extra ball. But I think I am going to repurpose this loop. This is an advancing score system. And I would rather use it for something else, and it's pretty obvious that these 4 lanes, these should score a multiplier when all 4 are in there. And on top of that, we could, to make it even more exciting, we can add a lane change to that. So that would be, I think, a really a great idea. All 4 is a multiplier, and we have 4 extra lights here. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with that yet, but maybe we can tie it in. It kind of depends on the amount of updates that come out from PinBuilder and what's in those updates. We're just going to reuse. We're just going to use these new updates to add new features to the game. Now, in the middle, guess what you just saw? I meant to actually take it out and then rebuild it for you. It's just put in roughly. But yeah, we now have a center target, and yes, it's the infamous Bally center target sucker shot, because if you can see, it's sort of in the area where if you shoot it from the left flipper, it's going to hit the target and then it's going to go straight towards that drain. And Bally machines are infamous for that, and in fact I think that they actually designed that in Paragon really comes to mind almost immediately. Do not hit that little single red target that is below the bumper with your left flipper, okay? Do not hit it. It's even slightly angled the target so that the ball will head straight towards the drain. It's just one of those really horrible things that Bally did to really frustrate the hell out of you when playing their games. So this base, unlike Bally, I mean Paragon, I think it was like 500 points, and that's all it actually ever did. I think we can actually use this target to score a new feature, and I figured, well, why not why not the left side here? The kickback lane. This is going to be a kickback, and we need something to turn it on and off. I want something that's that's reasonably difficult. You can still get it from either side of the flipper, from both flippers. And you know, to be honest, this game kind of needs a little bit more to shoot at other than the targets, and 2 lanes, and basically 2 completely useless single targets. Well, this one is actually reasonably important, maybe once in the game, but you know, for the most part they're useless. So I figure center target for the kickback, and for this one, I will tell you a little bit later. I'm not quite too sure. I've got a couple of ideas. The other thing is I put a target bank in front of this stand-up target. I may do that with this. I haven't really decided yet. I've got 2 lights. Might as well use one of them for a target for one object, and the other one for a different object. So I figured the target bank might make things a little bit more interesting. What I may actually, I may change this, okay? I was considering the idea of just taking this out, taking the post out and putting in a kicker and maybe having a multi-ball, but I kind of think that it would just change the game way too much, and I just want to add little things to it. I don't want to add something too major because some people will just get upset if I do that. Yeah, you know, it's the pizza on it's the pineapple on pizza crowd, probably. Okay, so the last thing I really wanted to discuss is the loop, and we've got multiple options. We could technically just leave it like this. I just don't like it like that. We could have the traditional point scoring system, say 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, extra ball, special, and say 50,000, or in this case, since it's an older machine, say 5,000, 10, 15, extra ball, special, 25k. Okay, that could be a very good option. Most people shoot for this loop anyway, and with that kind of scoring, it would definitely be a major target for people playing the game. And so I kind of thought about that. I also thought about maybe tying in a couple of features into it too as well. For instance, I would like very much to light one of these as a sort of an inside lane bonus. Say give you 5,000. This can light a spinner. This can light maybe something else. I haven't really thought about it yet. So, you know, we've got a whole bunch of additional options. The other thing is to make it a little bit tougher, because it's going to be an easier shot with PinBuilder, just to send the ball up to here. In other words, you can trigger the extra ball or the special probably at least once per game, maybe even twice. So we need to make it a little bit tougher. So I figured that we can reuse this center target a little bit too as well. And what happens is what you do is you shoot the target over and score, and if you hit the center target, then it advances the light, and then you have to shoot the loop again before this will advance the shot. Now I'm not too sure if PinBuilder is actually capable of doing that, but then on the other hand, we could also make this light a bank shot. We could make this light a bumper, so every time you hit this, a bumper will be lit. We can do this to, well, light the spinner in the end lanes. So we got a lot of options there. I just haven't decided which way I'm going to go, and but those are some of the ideas that I'm just putting out there. Yeah, you know, if there are actually people watching this and you got an idea, well, put it in the comments, right? Now, the other thing that I decided that I can do without really making too many big changes or any kind of changes in this case is PinBuilder will very shortly in an update introduced timers. And anybody that uses timers in future pinball and visual pinball will know that that's a very, very, very big thing. It basically allows you a whole bunch of additional options, and one of the biggest things that I can see in here is trying to find a particular use for this particular little target. This is without doubt one of the most useless targets in Bally history. I don't even know how much it scores. It just, you hit it, you get some points, that's it. And because this bumper, if the ball comes down here, it's almost guaranteed to hit this target maybe once or twice during that time. It really is kind of useless. It is in fact shootable from the flipper. I believe that my I was able to shoot it from the flipper, so the flipper can shoot the target. It is a completely and totally useless shot. So let's make that little target have some importance. And then I thought about the timer, and then I thought, well, why don't I have a timer set up a timed shot from the inside lane? So what happens is the ball comes down, it turns on a timer for say 10 seconds. We add a little light here. We add one extra object and put a light in front of here. So when the ball comes down, that light lights. Does that make sense? Yeah, I guess so. And if you time it right with the flipper, you can shoot the flipper and it will hit the target and you get some special reward. And I figured that that's the simplest way possible to do it. And most importantly, you kind of need a shot like that for the player to get. An award shot, as it's commonly called, something that makes the player feel good getting it. All right. Every time you get that particular shot, you feel a little rush as a player, and that's exactly what this table really kind of needed. Isn't an award shot? Well, there you go. It's not much, but it will do the job. Well, I believe that that's pretty much all of the changes that I wanted to discuss. Next video, I'm going to I'll be prepared to do at least some work in edit mode. I'm sorry, in logic mode. Wow, logic mode. And so I will have all my basic objects. I'm at here right now, but I have all of my basic objects for done with with proper controllers. This little yellow thing is a controller, and I have everything named. I have everything kind of basically set up. And I guess we're going to start a more complex version in the next video, and more than likely it's going to be the kickback. I believe we'll start with that, and so we'll show you how to do a kickback in PinBuilder. There happens to be an example already built in the Star Destroyer game, so we'll just go through that and how they did it, and then we'll just reproduce it here, and you'll see how it's done, and we'll just do it step by step. All right. In the meanwhile, thanks for taking the time to listen to this. It's been a long one, and I am particularly tongue-tied today for some strange reason. But you know, we all have days like this, and as time goes on, as I do more and more of these videos, I will hopefully start getting a little bit better. But in the meanwhile, enjoy the rest of your day and happy pinball.